Hello. Welcome to OJ Studios. Please enjoy today's chapter of A Week as a Girl by Lacey Julius.
I woke up the next morning and got out of my bed and walked to the window to look outside. The morning light filtered through the curtains, casting a warm, golden glow over everything. I felt a sense of calm wash over me as I stared out at the world beyond my window. The events of the past few days played through my mind, and I couldn't help but smile at how much had changed in such a short time. The day stretched out before me, full of possibilities. I knew there were still things left to do, moments to cherish, and challenges to face. But for the first time, I felt ready to embrace whatever came my way. I turned away from the window and headed to the bathroom to start my morning routine. As I brushed my teeth and washed my face, I couldn't help but think about the new family dynamic that had been revealed the night before. The idea of our moms dating, of potentially becoming a blended family, was still fresh in my mind. But instead of feeling anxious about it, I found myself looking forward to what the future might hold. Once I was ready, I went back to my room to get dressed. I opened the closet, staring at the array of clothes that had become a part of my temporary identity. I hesitated for a moment before choosing a simple outfit, a pair of denim shorts and a light blue t-shirt. It was casual, comfortable, and felt like the right choice for the day ahead. After I dressed, I headed downstairs, where I found Mom in the kitchen, making breakfast. The smell of freshly brewed coffee and sizzling bacon filled the air, making my stomach growl in anticipation. "Good morning, Katie," Mom greeted me with a warm smile as she flipped the bacon in the pan. "How did you sleep?" "Good morning," I replied, taking a seat at the kitchen island. "I slept well, thanks. How about you?" She nodded, her smile never fading. "I slept well too. It was a good night, wasn't it?" "Yeah, it was," I agreed, thinking back to the dinner and the big announcement. "I'm really happy for you and Elizabeth." Mom's smile grew even wider, and she set the spatula down to walk over and give me a quick hug. "Thank you, sweetheart. That means a lot to me." As she returned to the stove, I couldn't help but feel a sense of contentment. Things were changing, but they were changing for the better. I had learned so much over the past few days, about myself, about empathy, and about what it meant to be part of a family. As we sat down to eat breakfast, Mom and I talked about our plans for the day. "What would you like to do today?" Mom asked as she poured us both some orange juice. "We could go out, or we could stay in and do something fun together." "Can Allison come over?" I asked. Mom looked at me and I could see her smile a little. I could tell she was also wanting to see her girlfriend too. "How about this?" Mom said, clearing her throat. "We have a mother-daughter day of doing everything I always wanted to do with a daughter, and then after that we can have a double date, with Allison and Elizabeth. How does that sound?" I thought about it for a moment, feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness. A mother-daughter day sounded like it could be a lot of fun, and the idea of a double date with Allison and our moms was something new and different. It would be another opportunity to bond with everyone, and maybe even make some more memories. "That sounds like a good idea, Mom," I said, smiling at her. "What did you have in mind for our day together?" Mom's eyes lit up with enthusiasm as she began listing off ideas. "Well, we could start with some shopping, maybe find a few cute outfits or accessories. Then we could grab lunch at that little cafe downtown. After that, maybe a visit to the nail salon for a manicure." All of that seemed crazy. The boy part of my brain was saying no, please don't do it, but something else inside of me was wondering what the harm would be to get my nails done, and to go shopping with Mom. I mean, I know she has always wanted a daughter, and until Sunday night that's exactly what I am to her. I am Katie, her daughter. The idea of a mother-daughter day filled me with mixed emotions. On one hand, the thought of shopping, getting my nails done, and spending time with mom sounded like a dream come true for any girl. But on the other hand, the boy part of me felt hesitant, unsure about diving headfirst into these activities. Yet, as I looked at mom, her excitement was contagious, and I realized how much this meant to her. I took a deep breath, pushing aside my doubts. "Okay, Mom! Let's do it! Let's have a mother-daughter day!" Mom's face lit up with pure joy. "Oh, Katie, this is going to be so much fun! I'm so glad you're excited about this!" She reached across the table and squeezed my hand, her smile radiating warmth. As we finished breakfast, I felt a sense of anticipation building. Today would be another step in this journey, and while it was still unfamiliar territory, I was ready to embrace it, if not for myself, then for Mom. After breakfast, we quickly cleaned up the kitchen, and then Mom headed to her room to get ready. I returned to my room, standing in front of the mirror as I brushed my hair. The denim shorts and blue t-shirt I had chosen earlier were comfortable, but I wondered if they were appropriate for our day out. I opened the closet again, my fingers trailing over the neatly arranged clothes Mom had magically provided for Katie. Each piece seemed carefully chosen, as if Mom had known exactly what would suit her, suit me. The soft pastel pink dress with its delicate, subtle floral pattern caught my eye immediately. It wasn't overly frilly, which I appreciated. It was simple yet undeniably feminine, perfect for the kind of day Mom had planned, a day where I was supposed to fully embrace being Katie. I hesitated, my hand hovering over the fabric as if touching it would finalize something in my mind. Then, with a small sigh of acceptance, I pulled it off the hanger. The dress felt like it was made of air, the fabric so light that it seemed to float around me as I held it up. I ran my fingers over the smooth material, taking in every detail, the tiny, intricate flowers woven into the fabric, the way the color seemed to glow softly under the light. It was a beautiful dress, one that I might have admired from a distance in another life. As I slipped into the dress, the material settled against my skin, cool and comforting. I adjusted it carefully, smoothing out any wrinkles, feeling the way it hugged my figure just right. It was as if the dress had been made for me, or maybe it had been made for Katie. I walked over to the mirror, my heart pounding with a strange mixture of anticipation and nervousness. When I looked at my reflection, I didn't see the person I was used to seeing. Instead, Katie stared back at me, her wide eyes full of curiosity and something else, something like determination. The transformation wasn't just in the clothes, it was in the way I held myself, the way I felt. I could see Katie's spirit, her energy, in the way I stood there, in the way I looked at myself. When I walked downstairs, Mom was waiting for me in the living room, dressed in a stylish blouse and jeans. She looked up as I entered, her eyes widening with delight. "Oh, Katie, you look absolutely lovely," she said, her voice full of pride. "That dress is perfect for our day together." "Thanks, Mom," I replied, feeling a little more at ease with her encouragement. "I'm ready to go." We headed out the door and drove to the mall, the morning sun casting a warm glow over the town. As we pulled into the parking lot, I felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. This would be my first time shopping as Katie, and I wasn't entirely sure what to expect. Mom seemed to sense my unease and gave me a reassuring smile as we walked into the mall. "Just relax and have fun, sweetheart. This is all about enjoying our time together." We started with a few stores, browsing through racks of clothes and accessories. Mom helped me pick out a few outfits, offering advice and encouragement as we went. Surprisingly, I found myself enjoying the experience. The clothes were cute, and it was fun trying on different styles, experimenting with what looked good on me. Mom's enthusiasm made it even more enjoyable, and I couldn't help but smile at how much she was enjoying this time with me. It felt like a bonding moment, something special we were sharing, almost like an unspoken understanding was forming between us. As we moved from store to store, I noticed how Mom's eyes would light up whenever she saw something she thought I'd like. Her excitement was contagious, and before I knew it, I was eagerly picking out outfits on my own, wondering how they'd look, not just on me, but as part of Katie. There was something liberating about trying on these different identities, seeing myself in a new light, and realizing that maybe there was more to me than I had allowed myself to see. After a few rounds in the dressing rooms, I started to feel more confident. The awkwardness that had initially made me feel out of place began to fade, replaced by a strange sense of comfort. I didn't just look like a different person, I started to feel like one too. This wasn't just about clothes, it was about exploring who I could be, beyond the expectations I had always carried. Finally, after what felt like the 10th outfit change, I hesitated before stepping out of the dressing room. I had a question lingering in the back of my mind, one that I wasn't sure how to ask but needed an answer to. Gathering my courage, I stepped out and looked at Mom, who was smiling approvingly at my latest choice. "Mom," I started, feeling the words catch in my throat, "what's going to happen to these clothes once I go back to being a boy?" She looked at me thoughtfully, her expression softening as she considered her answer. "Well," she began, "they're going to stay with you. That way, if you ever want to be Katie again, you'll have clothes that make you feel like yourself." Her words took me by surprise, and I paused to let them sink in. The thought of having my own girly clothes seemed both odd and normal at the same time. I wasn't sure how I felt about it. Was I really going to volunteer to be Katie again? The idea lingered in my mind, the mix of curiosity and confusion. What if this wasn't just a temporary thing? What if Katie was a part of me that I hadn't fully acknowledged before? After a couple of hours, we decided to take a break and grab lunch at the cafe downtown. The atmosphere was cozy and inviting, with soft music playing in the background and the smell of freshly baked pastries filling the air. We ordered salads and iced tea, and as we sat down, I felt a sense of contentment settle over me. "This has been really nice, Mom," I said, taking a sip of my tea. "I didn't think I'd enjoy shopping this much, but it's actually been fun." Mom smiled, her eyes shining with happiness. "I'm so glad to hear that, Katie. I've always wanted to do this with you, and it means so much to me that we're finally getting the chance." As we ate, we talked about everything, our favorite parts of the day so far, what we wanted to do next, and even some lighthearted memories from the past. It felt like we were bonding in a way we hadn't before, and I realized how much this experience was bringing us closer. After lunch, we headed to the nail salon, where Mom had made appointments for both of us. The thought of getting my nails done still felt a bit strange, but I reminded myself that this was part of the experience. Besides, it couldn't hurt to try something new. The salon was bright and cheerful, with soft music playing in the background and the distinct scent of nail polish and lotions filling the air. The decor was modern but cozy, with plush chairs and walls painted in calming pastel shades. We were greeted by friendly staff who welcomed us with warm smiles and led us to our seats near a row of large windows, allowing natural light to flood the space. As I settled into the comfortable chair, a nail technician came over and gently took my hands, beginning the process of soaking my nails in warm, fragrant water. The warmth of the water was immediately soothing, and I felt some of the initial tension in my shoulders start to melt away. The gentle filing and shaping of my nails, followed by the application of a smooth, glossy polish, felt unexpectedly calming. With each stroke of the brush, my nerves faded, replaced by a growing sense of relaxation. Mom had chosen a soft pink polish for my nails, a color that subtly matched the pale blush of the dress I was wearing. At first, I had been hesitant about the color, but I mean, how can I say I want something more boyish, when I'm not a boy right now, and nail polish isn't really for boys no matter what color. But as I watched the color take shape on my nails, I found myself warming to it. The soft pink was elegant, understated, and unexpectedly flattering. I glanced over at Mom, who was watching me with a look of hopeful anticipation, and I couldn't help but smile. When the nail technician finished, I held my hands out to admire the result. My nails looked polished, neat, and, if I was being honest, pretty. There was something satisfying about seeing them so perfectly done, each nail gleaming under the salon lights. "How do you like them?" Mom asked, her voice brimming with excitement. "They're actually really nice," I replied, still a little surprised by my own reaction. "I never thought I'd say this, but I like them." Mom's face lit up with joy, her smile wide and genuine. "I'm so glad, Katie! They really do look lovely on you." As we stepped out of the salon and into the bright afternoon sunshine, I found myself feeling a sense of pride that was new to me. It wasn't just about how my nails looked, it was about the fact that I had done something outside of my usual comfort zone and discovered that I actually enjoyed it. There was something to be said for these traditionally girly activities. They had a way of making you feel pampered, confident, and just a little bit more in tune with yourself. I walked with a lightness in my step, already thinking about what other new experiences I might want to try next. The day continued with more shopping, this time for accessories and shoes to match the outfits we had picked out earlier. We wandered from store to store, trying on different pieces, statement necklaces that sparkled in the light, elegant scarves that added a touch of sophistication, and belts that cinched the waist just right. Each item seemed to perfectly complement the clothing we'd chosen, and we couldn't resist picking out matching shoes to complete the look. As we moved through the shops, our laughter filled the air, and we often paused to admire each other's finds. The excitement of discovering the perfect pair of heels or a chic handbag kept our energy high, despite the growing weight of our purchases. We even took a moment to rest at a cozy cafe, sipping on iced coffee and sharing our thoughts on the day's adventures. By the time we were done, our arms were loaded down with bags, each one a testament to our successful hunt for fashion. The smiles on our faces made it clear that we had enjoyed every moment, from the thrill of the search to the joy of finding exactly what we needed. When we finally returned home, it was late afternoon, and the sun was beginning to set. We unloaded our shopping bags and took a moment to relax on the couch, both of us feeling pleasantly tired from the day's activities. "Today was amazing, Mom," I said, leaning back against the cushions. "Thank you for everything." Mom reached over and squeezed my hand. "I'm so glad you enjoyed it, Katie. It's been such a special day for me, too. I've always dreamed of having a day like this with my daughter." We got home fresh from our girls' day. Mom told me to run upstairs and get dressed in my new black dress while she called Elizabeth. I obeyed and ran upstairs. I went straight to my room, a flurry of emotions rushing through me as I thought about the day I had just spent with Mom. The experience had been surreal, a roller coaster of feelings that left me feeling both exhilarated and exhausted. I pulled the new black dress out of one of the shopping bags, running my fingers over the soft fabric. It was elegant, with just the right amount of sophistication, and as I held it up against myself, I couldn't help but smile. This dress felt like a culmination of everything I had gone through over the past few days, a symbol of the person I was becoming, even if only temporarily. I quickly changed into the dress, the material slipping over my skin smoothly, hugging my figure in all the right places. The dress had a slight shimmer to it, catching the light as I moved, and I couldn't help but feel a small thrill of excitement. I paired it with the black flats we had bought, the ones with the delicate bow on top, and took a moment to admire the reflection staring back at me in the mirror. There was something undeniably beautiful about the way the outfit came together, how it made me feel more confident, more at ease in my own skin, Katie's skin. Satisfied with my appearance, I headed back downstairs, where Mom was waiting for me. She had changed into a stylish outfit herself, a deep blue dress that complemented her features perfectly. She looked up as I entered the living room, her eyes lighting up with approval. "You look stunning, Katie," she said, her voice full of warmth. "That dress is perfect for you." "Thanks, Mom," I replied, feeling a mixture of pride and nervousness. "You look amazing too." Mom smiled and reached out to smooth the stray hair behind my ear. "Thank you, sweetheart. Now, are you ready for our double date?" I hesitated for a moment, the reality of the evening settling in. A double date with Allison and Elizabeth, it was another step in this strange journey, another challenge to face. But as I looked at Mom, her expression filled with excitement and love, I knew I couldn't let her down. I had come this far, and I could keep going, one step at a time. "I'm ready," I said with a determined smile. We headed out to the car, and as we drove to the restaurant, I couldn't help but feel a mix of anticipation and nervousness. The day had been full of surprises, and I couldn't help but wonder what the evening would bring. But with Mom by my side and Allison as my newfound friend, I felt more confident than I had in days. When we arrived at the restaurant, Elizabeth and Allison were already waiting for us at the entrance. Allison looked beautiful in a pastel green dress that brought out the color of her eyes, her hair neatly styled. Elizabeth was equally stunning in a sleek red dress, her demeanor radiating the same warmth and confidence as my mom's. As soon as we walked up to them, Elizabeth greeted us with a big smile. "You both look lovely!" she exclaimed, her gaze shifting between Mom and me. Allison gave me a playful grin. "Katie, you look awesome! That dress is killer!" I felt my cheeks flush with a mix of embarrassment and pride. "Thanks, Allison! You look great too!" The four of us walked into the restaurant together, and I couldn't help but feel a sense of belonging. The conversation flowed easily as we sat down at our table, the atmosphere filled with laughter and light-hearted banter. For a moment, I almost forgot about the strangeness of the situation, the challenges that had brought us all together. All that mattered was the company, the shared moments, and the bonds we were building. Throughout the dinner, I found myself relaxing more and more, allowing myself to enjoy the evening. Elizabeth and Mom shared stories about how they met, their shared interests, and their excitement about what the future held. Allison and I exchanged amused glances as we listened to our moms talk, both of us realizing how lucky we were to have found each other in the midst of all this craziness. By the time dessert arrived, the mood at the table was one of pure joy. The tension and uncertainty that had once seemed overwhelming had faded away, replaced by a sense of unity and acceptance. As we indulged in the rich, decadent desserts, I couldn't help but feel grateful for everything that had happened, the challenges, the surprises, and the unexpected friendships. When we finally left the restaurant, the night was cool and quiet, the stars twinkling above us as we walked to our car. "Hey Mom, can Katie spend the night at our place tonight?" I heard Allison ask, and I started to get excited. As we reached the car, I looked at Mom, hoping she'd say yes. The idea of spending the night at Allison's place was exciting, especially after the day we just had. It felt like the perfect way to end an amazing day, and I didn't want it to end just yet. Mom exchanged a glance with Elizabeth, who smiled warmly. "I think that's a great idea," she said, her tone filled with enthusiasm. "It'll give you two more time to bond." Mom nodded in agreement. "Sure, Katie, if you want to." I couldn't help but grin. "Thanks, Mom." Allison looked just as excited as I felt. "Awesome! We can watch movies, eat snacks, and just hang out. It's going to be so much fun!" Elizabeth, Allison and I peeled into Elizabeth's car, Allison and I in the backseat, giggling and whispering about our plans for the night. The day had been full of unexpected moments, but it felt like this sleepover would be the perfect way to unwind and enjoy our new bond. As we drove through the quiet streets, the streetlights casting a soft glow on the road, I couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement building. When we arrived at Allison's apartment, the warm lights from the building's windows cast a welcoming glow, and I felt a flutter of excitement in my chest. This was going to be my first sleepover as Katie, and while a part of me was still adjusting to everything, another part of me was eager to experience it all. Elizabeth led us up to the apartment, unlocking the door with a practiced ease. The apartment was cozy, with soft, inviting furniture in a modern, chic style. The scent of vanilla candles filled the air, adding to the warm ambience. "Make yourselves at home, Katie," Elizabeth said, setting down her purse and slipping off her shoes. Allison grabbed my hand and tugged me toward her room. "Come on, Katie! I'll show you where we'll be sleeping!" We entered her room, which was filled with personality, posters of bands meant for little kids, a string of fairy lights draped across the headboard of her bed, and a bookshelf overflowing with books and knickknacks. The bed itself was large enough for the both of us, covered in a fluffy, lavender comforter that looked incredibly inviting. "Don't look at it too hard," Allison said. "Once I turn into a boy again, all of this will turn back into boys' stuff." I couldn't help but chuckle at Allison's comment as I looked around her room. "I get it," I said, nodding in understanding. "Both of our rooms are in disguise, just like us." Allison grinned and flopped onto the bed, patting the spot next to her. "Exactly! But tonight, it's all about being girls and having fun. We'll worry about the rest later." I sat down beside her, feeling the soft, plush comforter beneath me. There was something comforting about being in this space, even if it was temporary. It was like we were both suspended in this strange, shared experience, and for now, that was enough. Allison leaned over and grabbed a remote from her nightstand, turning on the TV mounted on the wall across from her bed. "So, what do you want to watch?" "I've got a bunch of movies we can choose from," I shrugged, feeling relaxed. "I don't suppose there's good, rated R action movies in there, is there?" I asked. "Of course not," Allison said, laughing. "We're 7, all I have movies meant for 7-year-old girls to watch." "Fine," I said. "You pick, you have been a girl longer than I have, so you show me what to watch." Allison laughed at my suggestion and then playfully poked me in the side. "Don't worry, I'll pick something fun that even you will like. How about a classic princess movie? It's cheesy, but it's one of those feel-good films that's perfect for a sleepover." I rolled my eyes, but couldn't help but smile. "Alright, I'm trusting you on this one. Let's see what all the hype is about." Allison selected the movie, and soon the familiar chime of the opening credits filled the room. As the animated world of The Princess Tale came to life on the screen, I found myself getting surprisingly engrossed in the story. The bright colors, the catchy songs, and the light-hearted adventure were oddly comforting, a reminder of the simpler joys that come with being a kid. And as much as I might have tried to resist it at first, I found myself laughing along with Allison and even singing along to some of the more memorable songs. Halfway through the movie, Elizabeth came in with a tray of snacks, popcorn, candy, and soda, just in time for the big musical number. "How are my 2 girls doing?" she asked with a smile as she set the tray down on the bed. "We're great, Mom," Allison replied, grabbing a handful of popcorn. "Katie's even getting into the movie." Elizabeth laughed softly, giving me a knowing look. "It's hard not to, isn't it? There's something magical about these stories, no matter how old you are." I nodded, feeling a bit more comfortable with the whole situation. "Yeah, I guess there is. It's kind of nice to just relax and enjoy something like this." Elizabeth ruffled my hair affectionately before turning to leave the room. "You two have fun. I'll be in the living room if you need anything." The movie continued, and by the time it ended, I was fully invested in the characters and their happily ever after. Allison grinned at me as the credits rolled, clearly pleased with my reaction. "See? Not so bad, right?" "Alright, you win," I admitted, laughing. "That was actually kind of fun." Allison beamed, clearly happy to have shared one of her favorite movies with me. "Told you! Now, what do you want to do next? We could watch another movie, or maybe play a game?" I thought for a moment, feeling content but also curious about the rest of the night. "How about we talk for a bit? We've been through a lot these past few days, and it might be nice to just chat." Allison nodded, her expression softening. "Yeah, that sounds good. There's definitely a lot we could talk about." We settled in on the bed, propping ourselves up with pillows as we began to chat. The conversation started off light, school, our favorite foods, and other random topics, but eventually, it shifted to the events of the past week and how they had impacted us. "So," I began, hesitating slightly. "Do you actually like being a girl? Do you miss being a teen boy?" Allison paused, her gaze shifting to the ceiling as she thought about my question. There was a moment of silence before she finally spoke, her voice soft and reflective. "I think, well, it's complicated," she admitted. "At first, I was really mad that Mom turned me into a girl, expressly a 7-year-old girl. I didn't understand why this was happening, and all I could think about was getting back to normal, back to being myself. But now, after spending so far a few weeks as Allison, I've realized that there's more to it than just being a girl or a boy. I've learned a lot about myself, things I probably wouldn't have known if this hadn't happened." I nodded, understanding what she meant. The past few days had been an emotional roller coaster, filled with moments of doubt, fear, and surprisingly, joy. There were things I had experienced as Katie that I never would have considered before, and it had opened my eyes to a different perspective. "Yeah, I get that," I said looking down. "So do you like being a girl?" Allison asked. I hesitated, staring down at my freshly painted nails, trying to put my thoughts into words. It was a question I hadn't really allowed myself to fully confront until now, and even as I sat there, the answer felt elusive. I don't know, I finally admitted, my voice barely above a whisper. There are parts of it that I like, I guess. Today was fun, and it was nice to see Mom so happy. I didn't expect to enjoy shopping or getting my nails done, but I did. It felt nice, in a way I didn't think it would. Allison nodded, encouraging me to continue. But at the same time, I went on, there's a part of me that misses being a boy. I'm not used to all of this, the clothes, the way people look at me, the expectations. Sometimes I feel like I'm playing a role, like I'm pretending to be someone I'm not. And it's confusing because I'm starting to wonder if maybe I'm not just pretending. Maybe Katie is a part of me, and I'm just starting to see that. Allison looked at me with a thoughtful expression. I think it's okay to feel that way, this whole experience is weird and confusing for both of us. It's like we're figuring out who we are all over again, and that's not easy. But maybe that's the point, to learn more about ourselves and what makes us happy, no matter who we are or what we look like. I guess so, I said. Allison's mom knocked on the door and entered her room. Girls, it's about time to go to sleep, she said. We both nodded, and Elizabeth smiled warmly before turning off the overhead light, leaving only the soft glow of the bedside lamp to illuminate the room. Good night, Mom, Allison called out as she snuggled under the blankets. Good night, girls, Elizabeth replied, gently closing the door behind her as she left. The room fell into a comfortable silence, with only the distant sounds of the house settling and the occasional rustle of the blankets. I shifted slightly, trying to find a comfortable position, my mind still buzzing with the conversation we had just had. As I lay there, I found myself thinking about what Allison had said, about how this whole experience was a way to learn more about ourselves. It was strange to think that something so unexpected and challenging could lead to such a deep understanding of who we were. Hey, Katie, Allison whispered after a few minutes, breaking the silence. Yeah? I whispered back, turning to face her. I'm really glad we're in this together, she said, her voice sincere and a little vulnerable. I don't think I could have handled all of this without you. Her words warmed my heart, and I felt a sense of connection and camaraderie with her that I hadn't fully realized until that moment. I'm glad we're in this together too, I replied. It makes it a lot less scary. We both smiled at each other in the dim light, the bond between us stronger than ever. We didn't need to say anything more, the silence between us was filled with a mutual understanding and a shared sense of peace. As I finally drifted off to sleep, I felt a sense of comfort and belonging that I hadn't felt in a long time. No matter what challenges lay ahead, I knew that I wasn't facing them alone. And that made all the difference.